Okay, ready?
Now you're not muted.
Okay, we're gonna call the board meeting back to order after executive session. Board is coming out of the executive session at 2:15. And the recommendation is to take a quick break. Is everybody okay with that? Yes. All right, thank you.
Aye.
go ahead and come back in. Alan, let us know when we're...
Okay.
All right. The board will come back after break. And action to approve resolution to appoint a new superintendent. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the resolution appointing Aaron Jones as Haxtun School District's new superintendent.
I second.
It's Dean with the motion and Christiane with the second. Any questions, discussions? Debbie, will you take roll?
Ross,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Christiane,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Dean,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Valerie.
Aye.
Very nice. We're all very excited to have Aaron join us. So, all right, going on into administrative reports.
All right, so we won't do principal reports today because it's just such a lengthy day. But I do have some key items I need to discuss with the board. So first, you have the proposed budget in front of you. It's in hard copy. It's also linked in the superintendent's report.
Thanks,
By Dr. Zila.
Thank you.
Not a lot of changes, minor changes, just based on the finalization of the School Finance Act. Please look that over. If you have any questions, either reach out to Debbie, Ms. Myers, or reach out to me. We'd be happy to go through any of the questions. That will, right now it's going to be published in the notice of it will be published in the paper. It will also put it up on the website, and then you would take action on it at our June 18th board meeting. The next piece is in the transportation plan. You'll see that list. I had that also in my superintendent's report last month, but you've had a lot on your plate. And I'm asking that you take action on disposing of bus 4 and bus 7. Bus 4 right now has blown out bearings and 7 has a bad motor. I would prefer not to spend money on renewing the insurance on those. They are not drivable. So that's some action I'd ask the board to take to get rid of those 2 buses. You did purchase 2 new buses. They are currently being built with the estimated delivery date of early August. But we do have those backup buses, just but those aren't drivable in either way. Questions, thoughts on that? And also a question if you want me to still go through Big Iron.
I wondered if you were going to go through Big Iron or what everybody's thoughts were on that.
I don't have any other suggestions, and if we can get something out of it, I think we should.
At least attempt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, make an attempt. If that doesn't work, just call the Hacker Auto and Metal and say, come get them.
Okay.
I agree.
And I can let you know at the next board meeting for sure what I found out on this too.
Thank you.
The next piece is as a classified salary schedule. You saw this last month. However, I'd like to make one small revision in the final column to the right. And that is for those regular route drivers. We're keeping the CDL route at $50. Nothing's changing there. But if they do not have a CDL and they are doing a route, we're going to drop that down to $25 an hour. So that's the recommendation. So I'm asking you to take action on that as well.
Okay.
And the next piece that will take just a little bit longer is the owner's rep request for quotes, request for proposals. So if you'll find this document in your packet, it has our logo at the top. The dates that you currently have on the superintendent's report, we have updated. I had a meeting with Walb yesterday and we refined it a bit. So this document that you have stapled with the logo is accurate. But all the areas that are highlighted in yellow are things that we need to discuss, just possible ideas. So the first piece is the project schedule. A couple of things that I just want to point out. So it would be available, if approved, to be available. This request for qualifications proposal would be open up tomorrow. I would send it to Jay Hoskinson to put onto his listserv as well, so that would go out. I've had 2 owners rep contact me and we've had conversations. One came on site. I would also send it to those 2 people. It would be, they could come on site on May 24th. That's the day after school's out, so I thought that would be a calmer day that I could take him around. They aren't required to. Then they can ask clarifying questions. Their responses, you can see the responses would be due June 3rd. All of that would go through Debbie. I would help her respond to any questions, but everything is going to be going through Debbie. You'll see that at the top. Then the interviews would take place during your regular board meeting on June 18th. And the reason we put if needed, if you already know who you want to hire based off of what came in as the proposal, you wouldn't necessarily need to do an interview if you know. What you do need to know through this is that if you do whatever you do, as you score it at that June 18th board meeting, all of the documents could be CORA'd. So they could be requested. They're public documents, so we would have to keep the scorecards, all of that. I'm just wanting to say that up front so you know. A couple of other pieces. So let's go ahead and flip through to the next section, which is page 3. Right now you'll notice it goes on page 3 and page 4, there are 21 questions. Those that I have currently in bold, once we've talked about it today, I'll put everything, normal. It won't be bold or highlighted. I'll take that off this. I've highlighted and put in bold areas just to highlight for you, for us to discuss. The ones in bold, when I was discussing with Walden, John Chapdelaine and Alicia Schramm were also on that call. We had debriefed the best presentation, and then we went right into this. And what Wald shared with us is the ones in bold are areas that you're really going to want to look at. So those are ones, just so you know, those are areas of importance. And the ones that are highlighted are questions that fit really into other questions. For example, question number 8, that would fit in about your knowledge of leads and chips. If they have answered like number 1 and number 2, where they've talked about their experiences, if they've built schools, they should know leads and chips. So if you're wanting to eliminate a couple of interview questions, you could remove 8 and 18. You could remove more if you like to, but once you decide it now, just that this will all go out. So just thoughts on that?
Remind me again, what's the bold,
The bold are probably your key questions.
most important questions?
For example, number 10, understanding the owner. You want to know that they've researched, they've looked at this. You've kind of been through this process with the superintendent. It's very similar. It's like, all right. And we'll find out tomorrow night if we get the BEST grant. So there's that question too. If we do not get the BEST grant tomorrow night, if that is not something that happens, I would highly, highly encourage you to apply again next year. The word on the street is that there's going to be a lot more funding next year for BEST projects. I've heard that from many people because school finances increases anyway. So apply again next year, definitely. The owner's rep should stay on without any fee. And the 2 that I've talked to, if you choose to bring them on, there would be no fee. And in the contract, you can say, hey, if we just don't feel like this is going to work, we can part ways. Or if they feel like it doesn't work, they could part ways. For no reason. They could just end it. You could just end it. You can put that in the contract. You can't. We aren't needing to decide all that today. I will work with a new superintendent and help him to make sure, hey, how does, this is the process. My hope is that he would be able to be at that June 18th board meeting if possible, be a part of that conversation and all the work so that we can transition this BEST project well. So anyway, back to the question, section 2, any that you want to get rid of. Do you want to keep all of them or
I think leave them in there.
leave them in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody feel differently? Is that okay? All right. So if you go to the next section, which is the scoring, which is on, actually I want to go to section 5, submittal review and selection process. This is the RFQ review. Here's a possibility. This again was a recommendation when I was talking to Wold yesterday. Is that section 2, experience and qualifications, provide a comprehensive, insightful experience and qualification package which highlighted key personnel in addition to other items. That experience and qualification is really, really important. And so you can see right now it has 30 points. You might want to increase that point value where the other 2, scopes of service, schedule, that's important, absolutely, but you might want to lower those point values if you wanted to increase section 2. And section 5 is references. That was another one they said that's huge, not just the references they formally give, but they should give you a list of all their past projects for the past 5 years. So as we're calling people, that's when they also said that you could consider raising.
Is this just a generic number like blank template, and then they make recommendations in regards to that?
So this, whatever we decide here is what you'll score it on. It will be what you, this is the
Right.
request. This came from CDE, has a template,
Okay,
and then CDE's template Rocky Ford used, and I used that one too,
Okay.
to look at it, to create this, and then sent it to Wald, and then last week for their feedback, and then we met yesterday to discuss it at length.
I think on, like the section 3 there, I think that making sure they demonstrate a clear understanding of what we need and where we want to head, I think that's pretty important.
Okay. Keep it at 30.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Everybody in agreement? The consensus there?
Sounds good.
If you really want 25, go ahead.
What do you want to take points from?
Let's leave it.
What do you want to take points from to increase
Are you
experience and qualifications?
I think those are equally important, to be honest.
Kind of keep it as it is.
Yeah.
Is this point system how Rocky Ford had theirs?
That's where I took this.
in the CDE.
I mean, I'd like
CDE
to
had-
add more points to section 4 too, because I think being on time is
Right.
just as important as the
Right.
rest of it.
That's for sure. Where do you take from?
After working through construction projects with our golf club for the last 5 years, I think quality exceeds the importance for
time?
time and weather
I don't know, maybe,
messes with that a lot.
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't disagree,
That's my
quality is
perspective.
important, but time is also a thing, especially.
I know you don't want
At
to
school,
drag out
yes.
forever.
Yeah, yeah, it's different with golf at
Timelines
school,
we
yeah.
have to meet, classrooms they have to meet
I know.
certain times of the year.
You have to golf too,
Contracts.
don't you?
We have to have people stay in lodge, but they're still painting on it.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's important that it gets done right.
Do you guys think we should leave it, or do you guys want to make adjustments?
So Wald was suggesting that we increase.
They just said you
2 and
could.
5.
This was their feedback because I wanted to be prepared to like, hey, here are possible changes that you could consider, and that's why they're highlighted. I didn't put numbers. Like if you wanted to change something based on what you want to value in this owner's rep, those are things that they said you could shift these up and those down, but it's up to you.
if anything, I would take 5 points off of 5 and add them on to 4.
I'd agree with that.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Do 20 points for 4 and 10 points for references.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, last piece, and then we're done. This was the major piece that I'm talking about besides the policies, is on that last page, section 6. If it stands as it is, and like I said, this is how Rocky Ford and also how the template is, but it is not required in statute to keep only the fee proposal of the apparent winner may be revealed to the selection committee. So what that means is the proposals come in, you read the proposals, you go through it all, and it's not until you select who you want that you open it up to see the cost. If the cost is within the reasonable realm of what we've estimated for the best project, then you would say, yep, this is good. Because and what Josh Grenier with Wald explained to me, the reason why they have that is because they don't want you to base it off of what's the least, the best price. They want you to find the best person, the best owner's rep, quality over cost. So that's why it's there. It could be eliminated if you feel uncomfortable and you're like, no, I want to look at all the proposals and the cost of all of them.
What is the significant difference in the cost of them? Do they have to be within like a certain percentage of our best number?
They won't, yeah, not from what I understand.
So it
yeah.
could be significantly different.
Mhm.
That seems like a waste of time
Yeah,
in
you were just-
reviewing that.
You were just saying it was, if it was, as long as it was within
A reasonable amount
So
close
what's
to
that
it.
reasonable amount? I guess that's the.
That I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I would say right in there or just slightly under would be what I would say. Because you wouldn't want to go much over, or you would have to cut it from some other part of your budget.
Mm-hmm. I struggle with that.
And as they were describing it to me, because I found that fascinating, because I'm like, oh really, you don't open the proposal? Because they said, if you keep this, as they were describing, because we went through this at length, they're like, don't forget you have to mail back any proposals that you don't open. And so I'm like, okay, whoa, I need to learn more about this, and that's when it was described. And they're like, you can strike it too if you want to, it's just that, so you don't pick the cheapest owner's rep, you do it based off of quality.
I'd like to say that we're smart enough as a board that we can look at both numbers and presentation to make a decision.
I would agree,
Are you okay if I strike that line?
yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Thank you very much. This process is up for action during your agenda. Any additional questions or anything about that process?
Thank you for explaining that.
It's interesting.
It is.
Very interesting. Gymnasium painting, just real quick, I'm working on getting estimates and quotes. Called another person today. I reached out to the superintendent in Julesburg. He gave me a recommendation, called that person, left a message. It seems like to be the story of my life. I like to leave lots of messages, lots of places. We do have somebody coming out June 4th and to give us a quote, so I'll just keep you in the loop as that keeps going. Personnel, the first two are just formalities. The last one, Ms. Firm is moving away, so that position is open. The last piece, the second readings of policy, those you're anticipating, and that's just refining our entrance age requirements and repealing JBR. We just put it all into the main one. Ms. Hines is here. Any questions about that? And then I'm going to talk about these first readings after this. So JEB and JEBR, entrance age requirements. And this has been something we've been working on with all the UPK and all of the pieces.
What were we before? Was it July 1st? Or did we bump it back to
It's-
August?
No, I mean, we've been July.
July, okay. That's what I thought,
But
but,
we just, changed lots of the wording in the,
okay.
got rid of this, because some of this is no longer
Right.
relevant. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Any concerns with any of that? This is your opportunity to discuss it. It's not, I think, anything controversial, it's just cleaning it up. It's doing what, we're putting in policy what we're actually doing. Anything you would add, Ms. Hines?
No, I think that's great.
Would you
I'd
say
add the
that
word
kid,
to.
I'm sorry.
Add the word to, a child may be eligible to enter kindergarten.
Thank you. Good catch.
Ms. Hines, would you say that children are entering sooner, or it's the same as it's always been? Like, do you feel like there's a push now?
We want to keep it the same as it's always been. There was a little push with UPK that they want them to enter sooner, but Colorado hasn't changed any of the expectations of kindergarten, and so I believe 4-year-olds trying to do what the standards say for kindergarten is not appropriate. So
Right.
I think we need to stay with this.
Super.
And it's much better, in my opinion, to start a child a year later
Mhm.
and have them be successful through school
Yep.
than starting them as 4 and then school's a struggle because they weren't ready and they're just always a little bit behind.
Mhm.
And then up for, in June, JEBR will be up for repeal as well. Again, just combining the two. Then your notification of board meetings, BEDA, again, that was just cleaning up the number of hours for you to get your board packet since we do it electronic. And we don't know that anymore, so just clean that up. And that's up for action during the agenda. So the other slew of board policies, last thing I have to talk about, and I'll try to make this short and sweet as I can. So Many of you know Title IX was revised. Attended a webinar. Today, attended a legal roundtable through the Rural Alliance on Title IX. During that, which was very interesting, I won't go into length about that. During that, it came up that one of the CASB lawyers said, yes, you must adopt all of these policies by July 1st. That's what the law says. And the superintendents, which that's mainly, it was either lawyers or superintendents on this call, went, we haven't received the CASB special policy update, so, and then she's like, oh, we sent it Friday. It doesn't matter. Anyway, they sent it, they shared it during that call. I was so glad I was on that call. And so started going through it, and I thought, I need to get this to the board. So please forgive the very short notice. It's just first reading, which means it's just getting in front of you. That's all it is. At that June 18th board meeting, or whatever our next, we may have a special board meeting at some point, then you will want to discuss this. And there's a lot we need to discuss. This isn't, it's first reading, so we won't need to discuss it. You need to read these. There's a lot, okay? So you'll get some reading materials for a few weeks. I would love to set Mr. Jones up to make sure, hey, whatever needs to be in place is in place. What they said this morning is, well, through our board policies, we can enact an emergency policy. Yes, you can do that. You still have to go through 3 readings. If it works out, I'd rather not do that for Mr. Jones. I'd rather, okay, if we can do 3 readings, if we end up having a special board meeting because we have another situation that we might need a special board meeting sometime in June, and then have that second reading and the third reading in June 18th, if you feel 100% comfortable with, all right, here's where we are and this is where we're going. Regardless, I want you to have access to these, or just start reading them, and then please reach out with any questions you have. Okay. And that is all I have.
Very nice.
That was funny. After a long day. So thank you for your patience and understanding.
Thank you for your information. All right, we'll start into action items. Action item to approve personnel report.
I move to approve the personnel report as presented.
Second?
We have Val with the move of the action and Ross with the second. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote, please.
Ross,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Christiane,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Dean,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Valerie.
Aye.
Action item to approve ESEA assurance.
I move to approve the ESEA assurance.
Second?
Go ahead, Ross.
Okay, we have the motion by Trevor and the second by Ross. Any discussion? No. We'll go ahead and vote.
Ross,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Christiane,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Dean,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Valerie.
Aye.
Okay, action item to approve owner's representation process and timeline.
I move to approve the owner's representative process and timeline.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion moved by Christiane and second by Dean. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Ross,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Christiane,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Dean,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Valerie.
Aye.
Action item to dispose of buses.
I move to dispose of bus number 4 and bus number 7 by June 28, 2024.
Second?
That was moved by Lee and seconded by Ross. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Ross,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Christiane,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Dean,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Valerie.
Aye.
Okay. Action item to revise classified salary schedule.
I move to approve revision to the classified salary schedule.
I second that.
Okay, it was moved by Christiane and seconded by Val. Any discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and vote.
Ross,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Christina,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Dean,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Valerie.
Aye.
Action item to approve policies.
I move to approve policy BEDA, notification of board meetings for a third and final reading.
Second.
We had the motion by Ross and second by Trevor. Any discussion? Okay, can we vote?
Ross,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Dean,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Valerie.
Aye.
Any discussion items?
Do you need us to make a motion or an action item to sell those buses on Big Iron?
No, just to dispose of.
Just to
I
dispose?
just, I haven't.
She works.
That gives me flexibility if I don't, I don't know what Big Iron will say, but I'll definitely communicate how I move forward with that.
Okay. They said if we gave you permission to get rid of them however necessary.
Might be in your yard.
Might be affordable.
But I will follow, what you've recommended, Big Iron first. If that doesn't work, then Akron. If that doesn't work, then they may show up, you never know.
Hey, great chicken coop.
No.
Any other discussion, Marcia? Principals, any other discussion?
I just want to say thank you to all of you who brought in treats and stuff for the Teacher Appreciation Week. It was very well received, and it's nice this time of year when everybody's feeling those pressures. So thank you all for doing those things. This was very nice.
Do you still want me to?
Yes, teachers will appreciate it anytime. All right, then I will adjourn the meeting.